All right, today we're going to dive into a really cool new tool for thought called Simulacra. You can think of it as a workbench, a place to rehearse the future, especially when it comes to navigating the kind of gnarly, high-stakes challenges that, people in the AI safety world are thinking about constantly. So let's get into how it works. And this is really the core question, right? How do you practice for a crisis that's never actually happened? Whether we're talking about an out-of-control AI, or another global pandemic, or some kind of crazy geopolitical event. Preparing for these things is incredibly hard. I mean, you can't exactly run a fire drill for an existential risk. Sure, we've got tools like tabletop exercises. Governments use them, big companies use them, and they have their place. But let's be real, they're crazy expensive, they need expert facilitators, they're only for a handful of people at a time, and the scenarios are usually static. They just don't scale. Okay, so here's our game plan. We'll start with the core problem, then look at Simulacra's really unique solution. We'll explore how it's designed to challenge your thinking, peek under the hood at the engine making it all run, and then finish up with the huge, ambitious vision for where this could all go. So what's the big idea here? Well, Simulacra is what you might call a hyper-real tool, and it's designed for one thing: building real-world agency. The name itself is a bit of a deep cut. It comes from a French philosopher, Jean Baudrillard. He had this idea of simulacra as copies that don't have an original anymore, kind of like a perfect map that becomes more important than the actual territory. His work was a huge inspiration for movies like The Matrix, where the simulation is way more compelling than reality. But here's the crucial twist. Baudrillard was kind of pessimistic about this. He thought we'd all just get lost in the spectacle and become passive. This project takes that idea and flips it completely on its head. It uses that hyperreal simulation as a tool for agency. The goal isn't to trap you, it's to train you. It's about moving from just worrying about things to actually practicing what to do. And this chart just makes the difference crystal clear. A traditional tabletop exercise is a one-off, high-cost event. Simulacra, on the other hand, is built for massive scale. It's asynchronous, so you can do it whenever. It's AI-driven, and it spits out dynamic scenarios, making this kind of high-level crisis rehearsal available to pretty much anyone. So what's it actually like to use? Well, you've got an AI game master that basically runs the show, creating a new crisis every time. You step into the shoes of someone important, a tech CEO, a federal regulator, you name it. And this is where it gets interesting. You have public goals you share with everyone, but also hidden goals that are just for you. You can even see what would have happened if nobody did anything, and you can build your own custom scenarios from the ground up. The real strategic heart of the game comes down to this dual scoring system. So there's a public score, let's say it's public trust, that everyone can see. If that thing hits 0, it's game over for everybody, so you're forced to cooperate. But you also have your own private hidden score that's tied to your own secret mission. This creates this fantastic dilemma. Do you work for the good of the group, or do you push your own agenda, even if it puts everyone else at risk? Okay, but this is way more than just a game. At a much deeper level, it's a tool that is specifically designed to get in your head and challenge your mental models of how the world works. And this quote from an early user just says it all, really. It gets right to the core of the experience. The game's whole purpose is to force you to confront your own biases, your own preconceived ideas about how to solve a problem. You know how it is, we all have our favorite problem-solving tool. If you're an engineer, you might have an engineering hammer, and every problem looks like a nail. If you're a policymaker, you see policy levers everywhere. By making you role-play as someone else, the simulation literally forces you to put down your usual hammer and see the problem from a completely new perspective. The ultimate objective is what the creators call populating one's world model. By playing through all these different scenarios and seeing all these unexpected consequences, you're adding new details, new causal links, new perspectives to your mental map of the world, and that makes your real-world predictions and strategies way, way more robust. So, what's actually powering all of this? Let's take a quick look under the hood and check out the engine that makes these rich, dynamic simulations possible. To really get what the engine is trying to do, think about this difference. A game like rock, paper, scissors is pretty much arbitrary. There's no real skill you can develop. But a deep strategy game like Age of Empires, that allows for huge skill progression. You learn the rules, you spot patterns, and you can get genuinely better over time. That's the kind of depth Simulacra is going for. And there's a clear roadmap for getting there. Right now, the engine is mostly driven by a large language model. The next step is to ground those creative scenarios with more formal models, like system dynamics, which can map out the underlying logic of a complex system. And the ultimate goal is a world with clear, learnable rules that allows for true strategic skill progression. So yeah, the vision here isn't to just create some random story generator. It's about building an engine that has a real underlying structure and logic. A system where players can actually uncover patterns, learn the dynamics, and get better at navigating complexity. And this brings us to what might be the most exciting part, the long-term vision. Because this isn't just about individual learning, it's about creating something much, much bigger. I absolutely love this quote from the team. They don't see this as some polished, finished product. They see it as a workbench, a tool for researchers, policymakers, anyone really, to build, test, and sharpen their understanding of complex systems. And because it's a digital tool, it can operate at a scale that was just unimaginable before. We're not talking about one game at a time. We're talking about the potential for thousands of these simulations all running in parallel, generating a massive amount of data. And when you get to that scale, it unlocks some incredible possibilities. You can start to spot population-level biases in decision-making. You could test a policy intervention 1,000 times before ever trying it in the real world. This would generate robust, statistically significant data on how people actually behave under pressure, which could then inform real strategy. Ultimately, the whole thing becomes a living lab. The data from thousands of playthroughs gets fed back into the system, improving the models, refining the scenarios, and creating this amazing, ever-evolving platform for strategic and psychological research. So, I'll leave you with this question. The ability to rehearse the future at scale is a really profound new capability. It gives us a chance to test our most critical, and maybe our most flawed, assumptions about how the world works before a real crisis puts them to the test for us. The question is, where do we start?